Welcome back to the Mindfuckery Podcast. This week I want to talk about listening to your body and not responding, but trusting. Welcome back. I'm your host, Elizabeth, and this is the Mindfuckery Podcast. I've been working through the path of inner integration, and at this point, the next stage is the path of sacred mastery. This is about putting it all together. This is about where everything starts to feel natural, feel normal. I say normal in loose terms because what is normal? But this is where all the work that we've been doing, you've been putting in the time, the hours, shedding the tears, calming down the nervous system, learning different techniques, the grounding, the listening. This is where it becomes a natural process. It's how life is. It's the new version of you or the real version of you. And you might find that there are elements where you do react, you do or you don't feel as calm as you have been. There are triggers. Your nervous system recognizes energy and reacts. And this is about this inner standing, inner knowing, wondering, questioning. But these are different types of questions. So we've moved through from the beginning of the relationship, all the what ifs and the maybes. What if I'd done this? What if I hadn't said this? Maybe if I'd, gone somewhere or done something and I'd refused to do it or said, no, I don't want to do it. Would things be different? Maybe they would have been in that moment, but we've moved on from that stage. We've moved through all the different stages. We've learnt to ground, come out of our head, stop going over, rehashing and wondering about this relationship. Because when you come out of these relationships, 1, it's so painful, 2, it's so lonely, and 3, I could go on, but you do not know how to function because you were never given that opportunity or it was taken away from you. So the weeks leading up to this point, the work that you've put in, the inner standing, the processing, the unpicking, unwinding has got you to this point where you now take on and start to master, become your master, the master of your life, the goddess or the god, the king or the queen. This is stepping out of survival and standing in your own right, in your own power. And it might not feel comfortable, and you might find that you're slipping back every so often into reactive mode because that's all you've known up until that point. That's how you were trained to respond. I don't know whether I've mentioned Pavlov's dog in any of the podcasts. I'm fairly sure I must have done in the early days. I do a quick update, a quick overview. Ivan Pavlov was studying how saliva was produced in dogs. During the test, he discovered that the dogs he was using were salivating before they were given food. He noticed the dogs salivated when they heard the footsteps of the lab assistant, and he realised that they were associating this sound with being fed. So what he then did was he experimented with a bell, and he rang it at times that the dogs weren't being fed, and he found that because they'd associated the bell with food, they started salivating at the sound. He then was proving that through conditioning you can train someone to associate different sounds and smells and different senses, and this is what happens in these relationships. You're trained to perform in a certain way, manipulated by unseen boundaries, conditions, rules, and you've got to unpick it, unlearn it, and heal the nervous system and heal the conditioning and heal the fear. This is where the nervous system isn't screaming anymore, it's whispering. Where your intuition had been turned off, it's wakening up and sensing. You're learning to honour yourself, who you are, and you become your own compass. People used to say to me years and years ago, I was so laid back that I was practically horizontal. That is until I wasn't. Until I came out of a relationship so wired up, on edge, on alert, my eyes darting around looking for danger. It was really quite a scary time. And using these techniques, I've been able to calm down my nervous system. I've been able to talk to myself and explain things to myself. But it took a while. And I'm even going to say it took years to get to that point. This is like Chinese water torture. I've always been a person that has been able to look at a situation and assess various different things going on. You know, if this happens, okay, well, we've got this option and this option. If this doesn't work, if we can't get the train, we can get the bus. If we can't do this, then this is going on. Really practical, operational background, logistics background. I was able to not be fazed by things. There's always another way. There's always an answer. But I came out of that relationship and that would have all gone. It would have all been wiped, as if somebody had gone in with a virus on a computer programming and set that virus off to wipe all of that memory, all of that inner knowing. And even when I had that inner knowing, there was like a voice in my head, like a little parasite had got in and was counteracting, challenging what I felt. It was like a narrator stepping in and narrating their version of the script that they want to say, they want to be heard, not my version of what I was feeling. And that takes courage and patience to trust yourself again, because that programming was rewritten. Somebody went in and wrote a different set of code for your life, and they removed the code, the programming that was already there, that had already been written. Now, some of it might have needed removing, but they've replaced it with what they wanted, not what was true for you. And the twins, truth and trust, hold hands here at this point, powering each other up. This is where you can stop, take a deep breath in and feel, because it's the vibration that is vitally important. This is rolling out your blueprint and feeling, not reading, feeling the vibration of that, who you're meant to be, claiming back sovereignty, whether that's from the relationship or as your birthright. Your nervous system, your nerves that run from your fingertips down to your toes, up to the top of your head, throughout your body. It's a network. It's feeling in the right way, and it's trusting, and it's listening to your inner truth. You're not reacting in the same way anymore. This is where everything becomes quiet, and you start to feel rather than listen. You start to feel rather than react. This is the path of sacred mastery, when you start trusting yourself fully. I'd love to hear where you are on your journey, which stage you're at, or perhaps you'd like to come and join me and take this journey. As always, I'm sending you loads and loads of love.